of Renew Wisconsin. Prior to joining Renew, he worked as the State of Wisconsin's Division of Energy Services and the U.S. Department of Energy's Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Division, among other places. Tyler, we're ready for you.
Great. Well, thank you again, Sherry, for putting this great panel together on short notice and for bringing together the great diverse perspective that you've gotten here. And thanks to UW Extension and SHWEC, I guess it's called SHWEC, for sponsoring this great event. I'm the Executive Director of Renew Wisconsin, and I've been asked to give a brief synopsis of our view of the proposals on the table, as well as inform you how you can get involved in these processes, which are open and public established processes. So we're working on 4 utility proposals at the same time, which is a lot of work. We're looking at 3 of the utilities that have proposed the rate restructuring that Mr. Garvin described to move more of their costs into the fixed facilities, unavoidable costs that people pay every month, and to slightly lower their energy rates. And then We Energies and Alliant Energy have also proposed changes to how they treat customers that produce some of their own power through renewable energy. You can see some of the high-level impacts of the fixed charge increases. So fixed bills for Wisconsin Public Service would go up about $180 per year, about $84 per year for We Energies customers, and about $108 a year for Madison Gas and Electric customers. I've got 3 slides with our view so far. So the first one is really an apples-to-apples comparison of other similar utilities in the Midwest in states that are regulated very similar to Wisconsin's electric industry is regulated. And what you can see is the proposals here from the utilities are 1.8, 2.1, and 2.8 times higher, respectively, than the Midwest average. And the net effect here is that low-use energy customers will be penalized. Their bills will go up. High-use customers will be rewarded. Their bills will go down. And it's important to keep in mind who our low-use customers are here in the state of Wisconsin. Maybe it's customers that have taken actions to save energy. Maybe they just live in a small dwelling. Maybe they're elderly Wisconsinites that are living on a fixed income and trying to find ways to save money on their bills. Or maybe they just don't have air conditioning. So these are all examples of low-use energy customers whose bills will go up because of the fixed charges will be increased. And we call that Robin Hood in reverse. A key consideration that Steve Keim touched on, as well as Brad Klein, was there's so many other public policy considerations here, and including state law, meaning that energy conservation and renewables should be prioritized. There's job creation and economic impacts. The solar industry now employs over 140,000 people alone. That's more than the coal mining industry in the United States. That's more than U.S. auto manufacturing of cars and small trucks. It's a huge growing industry, and largely Wisconsin is missing out on that investment and that job creation potential with the policies that we have now, let alone policies that will further restrict that market from growing. The utility proposals are really centered on one major factor, and that's, how do we recover, how do those utilities recover the costs and reduce as much risk from the perspective of their shareholders. It's also important to keep in mind that low-use customers help everyone else save money too. By being low-use customers, they avoid the need to build future power plants. They don't use the grid as much. So kind of this idea of a straight fixed variable approach assumes that every customer uses the grid the same, and in reality they don't. And even the PSC's rate analysts talk about that in their detailed discussion. And lower use in a world where more emissions restrictions are coming, low-use customers help avoid costs to control emissions going forward. And finally, in God we trust, all others bring data. So utilities have talked about some theory here about fixed charges, and but it's so important in these cases that they actually bring the numbers, not just abstract theory. And Carl Robigeau's quote here, the companies produced no studies, no surveys, no analysis or other data to demonstrate the actual existence of the alleged problems, or that these problems are manifest in faulty rate design. And in that regard, it's important to keep in mind a question, which is, are the utilities recovering their costs? And under the current rate design, they are recovering their costs. There's not an issue with whether or not they're recovering their costs or the company's actual financial position. Despite the lack of justification that we've seen in some of the utility proposals so far, our organization has done a lot of analysis and found that the net metered solar systems, this is solar photovoltaics that are on a customer's home or on their business, comprise less than less than 1% and less than 0.1%, actually only about 0.02% of the electricity on We Energy's grid. So this is about 2 kilowatt hours per year for an average residential customer. Yet, a current solar customer will lose about 35% of their savings, and a new solar customer would lose up to 47%. So it'd be a tremendous financial impact for customers that want to put solar on their roof. And Mr. Brown described this value of solar, and all I'll say in response to that is that the states whose public service commissions have asked for unbiased studies, and these have been done in Vermont, in Nevada, and in Minnesota. The results show that there is no net cost shift between customers that have solar or customers that don't have solar. And that's a really important thing to keep in mind, is that the most rigorous studies called for by public bodies have not shown that to be true. And that We Energy has conducted a study like this of their own back in 2009 that showed pretty much the same thing. So now I'm going to transition into what you can do to have your voice heard on these proposals. You can learn more. You can file a public comment in the official docket. You can attend public hearings. You can spread the word, and you can talk to your elected officials. We've seen a lot of communication from the utilities to the legislature, so it's important that you, their constituents, make your voice heard as well. So here I've got, if you just go to the PSC website, which is psc.wi.gov, and this is basically what the front page looks like. And if you scroll down, you will see a nice box at the bottom that says link directly to a case. And in my future slides, I'll tell you what the numbers are for these different cases. But you can just type in, it's a 3-part ID number, and you type in the little letters. And then you come to a box that looks or a page that looks kind of like this. And the second tab over is called Documents, and that's where all this information is. And for better or worse, everything that's been filed, whether it was by the utility, whether it was a small change or a small point, or a huge 50-page document, it's all in the same spot. Or whether it's a comment from another customer, it's all in the same page under this document. So I would suggest that you go to Document Type and click that link, and that will sort that column in alphabetical order so that you can go look. You can go and look for what you're looking for. The proposals and the in-depth response from the other organizations that are engaged are called pre-hearing / pre-filed exhibit / testimony. So that's where you're going to find the meat of these proposals. And I've just got a couple slides here that will mostly be beneficial afterwards for you to come back and look at, but I've just outlined the docket number for each of these 4 cases, the key witnesses that the companies have used to bring forth their numbers and justify their rationale, and not a comprehensive list, but a list of some of the what's called intervening organizations and the Public Service Commission staff witnesses who have also looked at these proposals and come up with their own analysis and their own perspectives. So I've just outlined all those there, and those are really, I mean, that's really where the meat of all this debate is happening, is in these documents. So hopefully you'll be able to find them. Just to give you a sense that there is a lot of public activity already going on. In the Wisconsin Public Service case, there's 162 comments as of Monday. We Energies had 204 comments. Madison Gas and Electric had 261 comments. And Alliant Energy, that comment period really just opened, and it's a little more limited issue. It's got 2 comments so far. I'll just go back one slide to just show kind of under the We Energies, under intervener witnesses, you can see that there's a lot of different groups involved. So Renew Wisconsin, Environmental Law and Policy Center, the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, SunVest, which is a local solar company, the Alliance for Solar Choice, which represents solar companies that do business all over the country. And then flipping forward to Madison Gas and Electric, you can see the City of Madison, a number of other local municipalities have engaged, National Resources Defense Council, Clean Wisconsin, and other groups are all involved. So there's a lot of groups involved, a lot of activity. You can also file a public comment. We've got on our website, renewwisconsin.org/current.htm, a spot where you can easily find those 4 links to those 4 comment pages. You can also find it on the PSC website. We've got the direct links on our page. You can attend a public hearing. So I've set the dates out here. The one in blue is only in blue because it's different than the rest. It's in Milwaukee for We Energies. The other 3 are happening here in Madison at the PSC building. And just one more slide here, Sherry. Other things you can do, continue to spread the word. There's a lot of newspaper articles being written. There's a lot of social media activities. I just saw a Solar Voices video that came out yesterday, or I saw it yesterday. Help spread the word and get the word out about these important issues, and talk to your